Booster fam. Welcome back to the Booster for Today podcast show. I am your host, for Happiness, Maris Nkechi. And I have a co-host with me today. Her name is...
Emanuela Unima.
No, what's that? Please be serious here. Okay, so our topic for today, we are going to be talking about, in this changing world of uncertainties, the inner battles that people struggle with. A lot of people struggle with, actually. We're talking about depression and anxiety here today. Okay, we have guest speakers who will be helping us, dissect this topic. We have one very amazing human, our resource person, actually, and then she's going to be helping us out more. And then, get that. So, guest speakers, could you kindly introduce yourselves?
I think you're vibing.
Sorry.
Okay, hi Booster family. My name is Prince Hugrid Chinidu, and I'm your guest for today.
Okay, ma'am.
And I am Millicent Ogenero Mukoro. I'll be the Waka Pass for today.
Okay.
Okay, so let's dive right into it. We are going to be talking about, as I said earlier, depression and anxiety. First off, definition of terms. What is depression? What is anxiety?
Okay. Depression is a term used every day, and in fact is misunderstood. So I have to actually explain. Depression is a mental health disorder, actually, characterized by feeling of loneliness, emptiness, sadness, hopelessness, and then also sometimes loss of appetite, lack of interest in social activities and stuff like that. And then anxiety. Anxiety is worrying about the outcome of the circumstance. Like you don't know what's happening next or what's going to happen next. So
It is like over worrying.
yes, we're stressing about the future or something like that.
Could you explain?
I like to be very pictorial when I'm talking about things. So it's for depression, it's like going to bed in a dark room and waking up and the room is still dark with all of the curtains drawn, and you cannot tell if it's morning or not. You cannot tell what time of the day it is. You just don't know. So for a depressed person, it doesn't matter whether they are in a place filled with people or whether they are alone. It's just dark. So if it's dark, how do you find your way? Is there a road? Can I find a road? Do I want to find a road? That's like the struggle the depressed person will go through. Meanwhile, somebody with anxiety, all the person wants to do is run, but they just don't know how fast they want to run, and if they run, if they are going to fall, they worry about falling. Oh no, they also worry if they don't run, and if they don't run, they worry why they are not running. So they are always in a worry. It's a pity though.
It's a pity, really. Like,
It's terrible.
With your definition, I can't even decide which is worse, depression or anxiety.
Either. It's like somebody telling you they have a migraine and somebody telling you they have a toothache, and you're just telling the person deal with it.
Don't tell me to deal with my toothache.
Exactly. Or a migraine, someone can run mad from the pain. So it's just a varying degree of pain. It's pain in itself of varying degrees, but pain, actual pain in itself.
What would you say is the connection?
The
Depression
connection.
and anxiety? Because I think it's mostly used together as well.
Yes, but they are not synonymous. Depression could be genetic, but anxiety is mostly born from trauma. So yeah, that's like the thin line. But a depressed person would most certainly be anxious.
Okay.
But an anxious person may
Might
not
be
necessarily be
depressed.
depressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, so you explain depression now from a depressed person's point of view. Is there a way for somebody outside, like a random person, to know when the person is depressed? Like feelings of sadness, like extreme sadness and depression, is it the same thing? Like you're just sad?
No,
or...
there's melancholy
Hey,
and there's depression.
so what's melancholy?
Good. Melancholy is just a period of low activity.
Okay. That's not
it,
depression.
It can be self-induced. You can wake up one morning and decide I've had too much stimulation from people. I just want to be on my own.
I do.
So you see, you're not depressed.
No, I never said I was
I'm just
depressed.
saying, okay.
So
I
it is
rebuke.
different from being depressed. In melancholy, you can control.
Yeah.
You can tell yourself, I want to come out of this. You can come out of it for your best friend or your best buddy or your
Yeah.
gist mate. But for depression, the ability to control it lies in the power of, first of all, diagnosing, understanding what you're going through. So if the person going through it doesn't even know yet what they are going through, how do you, the friend, the person looking in, how do you begin to understand? So I think for depression is can mostly be sensed from a trained eye or somebody who has suffered it
Yeah.
before.
From experience.
Like they say, misery loves company.
Yeah.
Misery
Loves
loves
com-
company. Somebody who's suffering, you have like people in a compound and one doesn't, like, the lights went off and they have tried, but they now say it's tomorrow they will now on the lights. And then you now come out and say everybody have lights. I now go back and instead of you to now be thinking, what can I do to have them? I wish everybody's lights
Yeah.
be off.
I've been there.
Yeah.
So you're depressed.
And then boom, somebody
Auntie Norma.
I'm talking about depression. I'm talking about the fact that when our light is bad at home, I pray that they take everybody's light too, so we can all be in
Or you
darkness.
check if everybody's in darkness.
Yes, because when they take everybody's light,
Are you a
you-
Christian? Let's not even go into that.
Okay.
So, depression. Do you have any personal experiences with it? Have you ever been depressed before?
Okay. Depression, I think for.
Well,
you know-
sorry. Before you answer that, do you think depression is overhyped? I feel like these days everybody's I'm depressed. You feel one cause, oh my god, depression.
Is it overhyped?
I think it is
Overhyped.
undiagnosed and underreported.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
It
think
is-
the word is easily
Yes.
used. By
Yeah,
It is
everybody.
undiagnosed and
Someone is sad,
underreported.
the person just said
Okay, so
depressed.
let me give you a book I read.
Okay.
This particular professional came to work. She's like the boss, a female boss, police boss. She came to work on this day, did all of her job, congratulated her teammates, and then went home and offed herself.
Like cute as hell.
Unalived herself, yes.
But when her colleagues were asked, what do you think could probably be wrong? Nobody knew.
Oh.
She was fine. So yeah, people could joke around with the word. But trust me, those who really suffer it, I think a half and quarter of them go undiagnosed. They are yet to find out. Then those who are actually know what they are suffering are too ashamed to even own up to it. So it's like somebody saying I'm broke right now. But a lot of people are actually really broke. God is killing us.
Why are you crying? Already?
not
So
crying
you smile
now.
all the time. You know, depression.
Yeah.
Are you depressed?
Me, no, not currently.
Oh, but
Were
you
you?
were.
But
Okay.
some time ago, started from my house, because I'm from a family where my parents we're always seen, like the pastor's child. So the whole thing, as there's attention, the whole church members are looking at you and everything. And then my siblings, most of them are fair. Yes, I think my senior sister is more fair than Ella than my siblings. So I was always like hearing, this boy, are you sure you're from this house? You're not even fine. Everybody's finer than you. And people made statements that hurt me a lot. There was even a time somebody was like, so look at the way you are fragile. You're not even supposed to be the first one. You don't have strength. Your younger brother is supposed to be the first one. The person said this in front of my mother. And then my mother rebuked him immediately, but that didn't do
That
well
hit
with
you.
me. I started thinking about it. So many times I felt like people I started looking at my photos. Anytime I snap picture, I would check and check. I started worrying about what I would wear. Just always wanted to feel accepted. I was looking for validation that time. And at some point I was like, am I really from this family? I don't know, my dad doesn't know about this. I pray he doesn't watch this video. So I went to our picture archive in the house and I was looking at the pictures. Is this me? I'm looking at, because I look at my dedication picture when I was born. This is me actually. This is my mother carrying me. This is everything. Because mom used to always tell us stories of everybody's pregnancy experience. So I doubted if, but at some point I just left it. But it was still me. Then when I now came to this school, in the hostel, guy, you slim. Everybody was just like on me, like steady bashing. And sometimes people say it as a joke. And I'm the kind of person that yabs people a lot. I can
Yes, I
play
can
with your
testify.
self-confidence. I can just look at you and yab you, make you feel bad, jokingly. So I got, so people enjoy yabbing me too, because that's what I do. So they used to always, any slightest opportunity, but they didn't know what those things were doing to me. I was now looking for big clothes to wear. I hated slim clothes. I was looking for thick clothes that would cover my, like this one, this thick.
Your skinny frame.
Yeah, and that would make me appear okay. I was always looking at myself. Always. I look at the mirror like 10 times before I go to class.
Can I
Every
ask you a
time.
question?
Yes.
What you have just described is like a causative agent.
Yes.
So what was the reaction? How did the experience make you feel?
Exactly.
I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes I would just be sad. I'll be thinking, just be on my own, thinking, what do I do to get fat?
To get fat.
Did you at any time hate your body?
Yeah, I won't say total hate, because I had confidence I was tall. So I used to always use that one and comfort myself.
Did you hate
But
the
I
people who were...
was worried about my hairline, everything. If I'm going to a barber, I'll look at the man, Afa, look at this hairline. Don't take it further in. Just leave it like this. I used to always warn them. So
Funny enough, you still have not spoken about how you
okay,
felt.
how I felt. I felt bad most of the time. I felt bad. You see how people see me, like, especially the time when that man made that statement, I'm supposed to be the second son. That I'm not, like, as if I'm not capable. I felt bad. I felt, why? I was asking a lot of questions. And some days I would just be looking at the ceiling. I won't find sleep sometimes.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it did not show, because you can ask Enki here.
You know how to
I'm
mask
always
pain.
smiling. I'm always you even think these boys.
It's the happiest of all.
Did you
Yeah.
talk about it with your parents?
I think I talked about it with my dad.
Really
Yes,
talk
I always-
about it or just brush it off?
No, I didn't really go into details. So my parents were, even my siblings, they were always telling me that I'm a man who is in this talk. These are just dogs that more you fine. But my dad used to always say it. Great is the finest child I have. He always says it.
Have you seen your smile?
Eh?
Why did you not enter this one?
Genge.
Do you think you're a fine person? Great.
Yes, I think.
You think so now? Now, or you always thought so?
I think I'm realizing now.
Really?
I'm realizing now. Because then I wasn't told all those kind of things. It's even last 2 or 3 years I said it.
Coming
Wow.
out from...
Look at my dimples. Okay.
Sharp boy.
Are you sure that's all?
Look at-
Or are girls not dropping letters?
Ha!
Are girls not making...
If you
Please let's not go there. Please.
okay, great.
No. those okay. What people say actually to the way people talk to me now, or the way I am free with people, or the kind of people I know now, I feel sometimes it's because of what I do.
What do you do?
Not really. Okay. I'm a keyboardist
Oh, okay.
and I'm a drummer, and
So once again, you're back in the face of the church.
yeah,
Like you always were.
Did you ever leave
leave
the
church.
face of the church? Like, I think I've always just been there.
No. I've been there like all my life.
Yeah.
Do you wish that you could go away?
From the church. No.
It's part of your identity.
No. I don't think I can.
Do you think
I
your
love it.
inability to fully reveal your pain and be vulnerable, do you think it has to do with the fact that you were sort of camera celebrity? Like you always have to wear a smile. You always have to appear like God is good all the time.
That is God, not good.
But
I think
all the time.
God in himself is good,
Good.
all the time, but we are not always good, at least
Yeah.
not all the time. And we cannot be God. Even the Bible says that God got really sad. And he made men pen it down that he really got sad. So why should we not be in a situation where we can be vulnerable with?
I avoided being noticed like I'm sad sometimes because anytime I'm quiet, people just go crazy. Wait, why you not talking? Are you okay? The questions were too much.
And have you truly answered any of them?
I was like, I'm just angry. Sometimes I used to say just to cover it up with one small thing. I didn't have a good day or stuff like
Can you
that.
remember the first time you opened up to a friend?
Hmm.
Like when you open up?
I think the first time I opened up was in a family prayer or morning.
And how did they handle it?
They didn't say anything funny enough. And they said, and they actually confirmed that they saw the symptoms. That have always been. That's why I think it's because they saw the symptoms that they were always telling me that I'm fine.
But that wasn't the solution though. I think
Yeah.
because you opened up and you didn't get like the soothing relief that your body, your soul craved. You just went back into that persona. So now you have like the boy who still craves for a space to heal. And then the boy who is his daddy's boy and has to appear like God is good all the time.
Okay, great. I think at this point we need to maybe organize a different session for both of you because
Yes,
I can see some kind of therapy
A connection,
going
man.
on here. Okay, what I would like to ask actually is, okay, the way we all misunderstand depression and easily use the word depression, is there actually a way to know that, okay, I'm no longer just sad? Like you said, there's melancholy and there's depression. Is there a way to know that, okay, this is not just me, it is not just
Yeah.
inactivity or sadness?
Yeah.
Is there a way to know that I'm gradually going into depression?
When you no longer find activities that stimulate you stimulating. You know, ice cream can be very tasty and very flavorful. But so one day you take ice cream and like yuck, it tastes like ice.
Yeah.
But then it
I will never get
continues
there.
good, but then it continues to taste like ice.
Ice
Ice cream didn't change. Your tongue did not
Yeah.
change. So what went wrong?
No, that means I've never been depressed. Ice cream has always been sweet.
So there are times like you have this friend who they are called would always like excite you. And then for some time you just notice that you are not in a place
Don't
where
feel
you
like
can
talking
just
to them.
deal with them. And it's not just that one friend, it's this friend and that friend and that friend and the other friend, and it's just like
Are you
it's creeping
saying,
up on your circle.
okay,
So the first symptom of self-diagnosis is withdrawal. The minute you start withdrawing, start questioning why.
Yeah. You start feeling lonely. Start
Even
looking
in a
for
room
people's-
full of
yeah,
people.
Start looking for people's validation up and down.
You may necessarily not even look for validation.
Validation.
There's the I don't give a shit what people
Oh
think
yeah,
about me.
yeah.
IDGA.
Yeah, but the minute everybody just like seems not to, you don't get their jokes anymore.
Ew.
Comedians will tell you it's not my joke, it's your problem.
your
Your
problem.
problem is bigger than my joke. So yeah. So the first sign of self-diagnosis is withdrawal.
okay, but can there be like, because what I'm asking this is, I think I've gone through that withdrawal phase before while I was at school. There's actually a period of time that I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just locked myself up in my room. Can only that symptom qualify as depression?
It very well is if your personality before
Yeah.
this episode was
different.
more outward.
Okay.
So why were you not able to take the people you usually take? If you're like I said, melancholy can be self-induced, but usually it's directed at a certain group of people. There are persons that you can open the curtain and just like, hey, pop in and go back in.
Okay.
But when all you want to do is remain in the dark, remember at the very onset of this conversation, I said it's like a dark room. The minute you want to remain in the dark, you find the sun too stimulating. You find people's laugh too stimulating. People are laughing outside. That was funny. It was funny. You are laughing.
But okay, do you think it's possible to actually get into depression and get
And
out
come
of
out.
it?
Yes, people go in
All
and come
time.
out. The thing is, with women and the fluctuation of our hormones, it is easy to snap in and out
Yeah.
of depression. Usually, some persons are even more prone to depression if they have a parent, especially their mom, who had history of depression. Remember I said that
It's genetic,
yes,
okay.
yes, depression can be genetic. The tendency, and the tendency is always geared towards exposure. So if maybe your mom had like postnatal depression, your formation during
Yeah.
this period, your psychological makeup during this period, your emotional makeup during this period is
Rooted in depression.
so you are most likely
Wow.
Okay.
to
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. So I think at this point we'd like to know.
if I've ever been
Yeah,
Yes,
your
we want to
personal
hear.
Yes, baby.
Okay. The floor is open.
Remember I said that it is easy to diagnose somebody who's been depressed before if you have been there.
Okay.
It's you know when somebody looks at and the person says I can imagine, and you look at the person and they really do get it. So I get it. About like to talk about one of the most recent of the episodes of depression. I remember I had like a very difficult pregnancy in 2015. It was so difficult, my life was threatened. I had a stroke prior to having the baby, and then I had like a surgery before and a surgery after, and then a few days later it was obvious that the child was going to die. And then to be in a group of persons where all they keep telling you is be strong,
You'll be fine.
and then my baby eventually died, and I remember holding her. But I kept screaming at the doctors, I never had the chance to breastfeed her. I have to breastfeed her, my breast to wake her up. I did all of that, the whole parole. She died in my arms. And when I got home, it wasn't even the death itself, it was the post-death care, and then you sit in front of people and everybody's talking trash. Like, I felt really isolated. And at some point, it just didn't make sense to keep standing in
Listening
front
to
of
these people
and just taking
what they have
the
to say.
vial. Like, they don't get it. And in that they don't get it-ness, I just withdrew. My friends didn't get it. They said that they were too broken to understand why I should be this broken. Or and then I was with a partner who would walk in on me crying and would ask me, why are you crying? My child just died 6 days after, and I am crying, asking me, why am I crying? Woo! So at this point in my life, I'm like, this is just me. It's me alone. I'll carry this pain. And at some point, the pain felt like a glove. I wanted to wear it. I wanted to identify with it. But this is where it gets interesting. I don't like pity. I don't like to stand there. Hey, yeah, sorry for what? My father died. No. So I think a week after my baby died, I went to the salon, got my hair did, bought new sets of shoes, and brought out the best of clothes, and then I went to service with heels. That's a surgery. Like 6 days after a cesarean section, I was on heels. I went to myself, sat down, and with all makeup, my face did. And when they said amen, I'm like, yes, I've shown them I'm not dead. But then, just having to anticipate them coming towards me. I remember I ran out and went to a hidden corner in one of the streets, and cried my eyes out. And then I told myself, no need. So there will be mornings and there are no mornings for me. I don't want my curtains open. I don't want the windows showing light. When people are laughing, it becomes really too loud. Why are they laughing? Can't they just stay there laughing me? And there was like this isolation. I just felt like I was on this island alone. It was an out of body experience for me because I couldn't feel my body. I was existing outside my body. So it was like watching
someone go through it.
So life was just going by. I knew my life wasn't going by. I didn't want my life to go on. But I had to move out of that lifeless body and be watching other people live their life. So I know what it's like. I've been there. I think I was there for a very long time.
And if I recall, you said your latest experience, that's to be
Okay,
like you've
previous
been in and out.
Oh, my darling, I've been in and out of depression. I watched my parents separate when I was 4, and a child of 8 months was left to me to raise. So I would wake up in the midnight, going to where, and then I'll see my father crying. And so I had to learn to be strong for my father. So as a 4-year-old, I couldn't ask where my mother was because I didn't want to trigger my dad. I had to carry that pain. I had to watch my siblings suffer. That was the pain. I watched my dad suffer. That was the pain. I was in need of a hug and I couldn't get it.
Are you the first child?
Yes. So I think from age 4 till 16, I was neck deep depressed, undiagnosed.
And I guess without even realizing you were.
I didn't know what it was. I just knew that I wasn't normal because I couldn't just phantom how others were going about their life. I knew people didn't feel the way I did. So I just felt like maybe I don't fit in. But when I knew what it was, I think I stumbled on an Awake magazine, and then it talked about depression. Are you depressed? I think it was around 1997 or so, or 98, and I read the Awake, and all the signs.
This is me.
It's as if a floodgate was opened, and I remember I went to my mom, and then I told my mom, Mommy, I understand why I can't seem to fix myself, With depression comes this unhabitual forgetfulness. So you think you want to drink, you go to the kitchen and you forget the reason why.
That's depression.
I can relate.
Because I normally go out to the
And
kitchen
you forget. So there's like this
Right.
there's this mindlessness.
mindlessness.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and to be raising a child that was mindless was tough on my mom.
You said your mom. I thought your mom left.
No, she left, but at some point I navigated my way.
Okay, they were
to
not
her,
together.
yeah.
Okay.
So I navigated, and then I saw her suffer trying to understand me. And when I found what the problem was, I ran to her. I get it. Finally, I get it. But when I told her, I saw the look on her face. It didn't
She
register.
didn't get it.
And then the next day, she saw this cup is like a trigger, and then she saw like a glass mug on on the dining section. Wait, is it the depression that made you leave the cup here too?
That's her. Now you wish you didn't tell her.
And so when I started finding my way out of depression, I knew how much I suffered. And so it became a mission for me. I would usually not even look at people when they walk by. I hate greeting, I hate small talk. But I don't know, there's this energy I sense when there is sadness. I may not even know the person, but the minute I pass you, it's like a whiff. There's just a smell.
You know that something is wrong.
And I stop. And yeah.
Because you can totally relate.
I don't want you to suffer for that long. I also do not want you, in case you're just entering, I want to see how I can hold your hands and walk you out of the darkness.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a whole lot. I
At
feel
this
like
point, there are
I just
levels
watched
to
a
this.
movie.
There are levels to depression, man.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. I think there are actually levels to it. 'Cause
So I used to actually know something about. Oh, let me see. I read somewhere about self harm.
Yeah.
I want to know the rationale behind that. Like, why do they do that?
Sometimes you just want to feel
Yeah.
something.
okay. So I
So
try to
it's
say
like-
as they are doing it, they're not really.
They want to feel. So for some it's cotton, for others it's drug, for others it's sex. Just anything.
Feel
To
human.
feel.
As long as you feel, because the more you stay depressed, the more mindless and the more inhumane you become. Do you get? And then maybe one day you look at everybody and they're enjoying their life and all you want to do is feel something. Just so like some people, would you see them, they kill their skin, they eat
Until
until
they
start bleeding. And you wonder why they can't stop.
But
At
they are
least that
feeling
is
that
the
pain,
only
right?
pain they feel.
Okay.
That is something. So some people get really high and it takes them away from this dark room. And for a brief period of time, they're able to experience euphoria, something different, a feeling that cannot be associated with their daily life. Depression can be so long, you can actually think that you may never find your way out. And then you become, if you were born to be brave, if you were born to be exciting, you begin to crave that part of you and you want to do something to bring yourself out of it. So yeah, self-harm is
So with your early experience with depression, how would you say it affected you in your later years in life?
Ooh. I think I lost my childhood. I didn't get to be a girl as I should, because I remember my siblings would go out playing and then I don't feel like playing with the kids. So you would see me with a book in hand at just one secluded corner. I enjoy their cackling when I see them running about and they cackle with careless abandon. And I'm like, you follow, but it's just so that's not your leg joining them, and definitely not your body. There's like the weight, it sits on you, so you know you can't be doing this. So I lost my childhood, and I also think that my ability to concentrate in school was grossly affected, because most times that would be me daydreaming. Because I lived so long with depression, I had to create a world of fantasy. So I had a world where I was everything I wanted to be. Meanwhile, my reality was different. So I would be with you all and then I'm there. And you're looking at me and wondering why I'm smiling.
Yeah, your Disney, your own little world.
And I can't wait to go to sleep, because going to sleep means transiting into my second reality. So depression stole my youth. It did.
Okay, so that first phase of depression, would you say you ever came out of it?
Oh yes, I did. But there was always it was always locking. It was always locking in the corner. There was always like this threat of it coming out to the surface.
Okay.
There was always the threat. So I think that's what gave birth to my anxiety. When I was experiencing beautiful moments of sunlight and warmth, the fear of when will I go back into the
When
dark.
would everything go wrong again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you remember when I said an anxious person may not be depressed, but
Yes.
there's
yes.
every tendency that a depressed
Depression
person
comes
will be
with
anxious.
anxiety. Okay. So I think another thing I want to know is, you made mention, like at first, you made mention of your most recent bout of depression. Would you say, like, it's not, I don't know if it's right to say, like, to compare, but okay, with your experience with the first
And
time,
the
yes, with the first experience, do you think it any way helped you to handle
navigate the
better,
second round.
yes.
Yes, he sure did. Funny enough, I started working with people before the second round happened.
Okay.
So I knew exactly where I was. And I wanted to be there. This time, I knew I was the person. I was enjoying it. Because it also meant that I could keep being sad. There's this lure to not want to let go of the sadness when there is a death close to you, because you feel like moving on is like discarding the memory
Yes, you feel
of
guilty.
the dead person.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I get that.
So I remember there was one day I really did enjoy. Was it a fish, well prepared fish? And then I was eating, and then the thought just came, pap. You are enjoying life and your child died. It was like a gut punch. Like,
And you left the fish.
no, I ate.
Ah,
I like food. No, I like good spicy food, but that's not the thing. So for me, because I knew where I was now, I knew what was happening, I also gave myself a duration of time to suffer it before I would start. If I couldn't help myself out of it, and then I would seek help. So the former episode was more hopeless and dark, but this one was sort of like a vacation for me.
Okay, you made mention of your partner
Yeah.
not being so supportive, right?
Yeah.
So how was it then? You had other kids.
Yeah.
You had other
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
So how was it being able to manage things
Being
alone,
a parent,
and
and
then
it was hell. It was hell. It was hell. And I think my child suffered. I think I had a child, one child before the one that died. The one that died was my second time. And I think my child suffered because I was her anchor. Because I know just what I missed in my childhood. I went into parenting determined to do everything right. And then in this stage, I couldn't help my child. And to have chosen, I keep saying I chose because I didn't tie my hand and my eye and put me inside the marriage. So to have chosen somebody who was so poor when it comes to emotional intelligence was hell for the child. So I remember a few years on, my first child couldn't seem to grasp some of her big emotions. She just didn't know how to navigate them. But I knew what was happening. And I tried to see if I could carry my partner. Not for me. Me and his case was lost. But for his child. I wanted to see how I could carry him along. There's like this, I can't forget. There's this occasion where she just came out and she was crying. I already knew that she was predisposed to depression.
how old was she?
When her sister died, she was barely 2.
That's right.
So I already know that she was predisposed to depression. She would get secondhand depression. Me, I knew that. So I was watching out for it. But I would not always be there. I was a working mother. I needed to see how I could carry my partner along so he would cover for me when I wasn't there. But he just wasn't willing. So there was a day the girl was just, bawling, and he came out and was screaming. I heard it. I'm like, what's going on? She said, I don't mind her. She's so come this way. She's back here. She's just crying. I don't get it. She's so boo. And she was, get out from us. Shift from side. Get out. And ooh. And you're talking to a girl who's not willing to leave. She's just standing there, like, just come and fall on me. Let me die. And so I went over and I held my child and I brought her to my side. I'm like, how do you feel? She said, I don't know. Why do you feel this way? I don't know. Do you think this is good? I know it's not good, mommy, but I don't know why I feel the way I do. Okay.
I mean, it's difficult for an adult to talk more with a child.
So I told her, so this is what will happen. We are going to name this emotion. I've taught my children how to name emotions. There is a difference between being angry and being offended. Yeah. And there's a difference between being sad and being quiet and being melancholic. Okay. And there's a big difference between being sad and being depressed. there's a difference between being anxious and getting into panic. So I've taught my children, at least the older one. So I'm like, so we're going to name this emotion a sort of emotion. So when you're in this space and you can't explain, just say, Mommy, I'm feeling a sort of way.
Okay.
And I'll know just what to do. So to have raised those kids with, we're no longer together. Thank God, Jesus, thank you. So to have raised that girl with a partner who was unwilling to learn, unwilling to shift base, just to accommodate the big emotions of his wife and his child, it was a terrible blow. It was, yeah. I'm not crying again because I've cried and I've done therapy. I've paid my dues.
So you're in a better place.
Yeah.
Right?
I no longer
Glory.
identify with that victim mentality. I'm a survivor.
Okay. So what do you have to tell those who are still, first of all, those who might be there and don't realize they are there, like those who are still struggling with their emotions,
Trying
they are
figure
yet
it
to
out.
identify
Yeah.
what's wrong with them. And then there's also those who maybe with some kind of maybe research or maybe even a professional diagnosis know they are depressed but they're still battling, and those who may have conquered or survived depression before but are at a risk of falling back into it. What do you have to tell this different sets of people?
I think it may sound touche or patronizing, but I think everyone needs a therapist. Even a therapist needs a therapist. I have a therapist. My therapist charges 30K per session.
And you are a therapist.
Yes, I am a therapist counselor.
Okay.
And my charges are really low. I charge 15K for consultation. And then depending on the range of the session, it's between 10 to 5K, as small as that. But to tell you how important I think therapist is, I take my time, I gather 30K and I go to pay somebody to pour my heart onto them. So I think everyone needs a therapist. Everybody. The minute you start feeling like you cannot make sense of what you are feeling, reach out to someone. Talk it out. And if you try, some people can be dense and some people can be unexperienced. Even in our field, there are persons who have more certificates and more degrees and they just cannot identify with your emotion. Therapy is like a gene. You could fit a gene that is your side and it just doesn't sit well on your body.
Yeah.
So you could meet the first therapist and it just doesn't want, baby, keep looking until you find the one that your energy just synchronizes. And so everyone needs a therapist. Talk to someone.
Okay, so both of those that actually might not have access to a therapist, is there a way to self-heal or teach yourself to get out of it?
Okay, so I like holistic approaches. I get more towards a natural form of healing. So music does a lot. There's this crazy demonic satisfaction that comes from sad music.
Yeah.
Just knowing that somebody can be sadder than you. So just bury yourself in sad music, sad love songs. Then another form of music that can really like tweak your brain is rock music. Yeah. You know that sound, that gim, that jiggy-bagam. That's you feeling something. That's your world exploding. And soon you start getting the vibe to bounce on your feet. So somebody notices that you that would normally walk with a hunched back, now you're walking because like you have like headphones on and something is just jamming. Yeah.
Wait, sorry, let me take you back. You said something about sad music.
Yeah.
So when you're sad, it's advised to listen to sad music.
Misery loves
Company.
So, okay. Why I'm asking is, I don't know the mechanism of action per se, but
Yeah.
I know it has worked for me before.
Yeah.
I actually have a playlist on my phone that is, the name is Sad.
Good.
Okay, but how does he actually work?
So it helps you identify with emotions that you do not have words for. They somehow just hit a chord and you see yourself bawling and crying. And usually, when you are depressed, there's this fear to not shatter, so you don't want to cry. But sad music goes there and just, it's like that child that's been looking for a way to cry and just,
Anything you do. Okay.
and you
So it
feel
ends.
with a session of good cry,
Yeah,
You feel better.
there's like a relief that comes. So imagine getting like 3-4 sessions of cry, like good cry.
Okay. No, that makes
That's
sense.
it helps you release some of the
I
pressure.
understand
Let's
better
see
now. Okay. So
Okay. What I would say to anybody that is depressed, one of the things I think that makes teenagers very depressed is lack of purpose in life, lack of self. Like they come into the world and they don't even know why they are here. So they try to feel among, try to mash up. They bow to peer pressure.
social
How will I
media.
put it? Yeah. Peer pressure now is like the strong feeling to do what your mates are doing. To feel for guys, have money, stuff like that. For girls,
Have
to
wigs.
look, have wigs. Today, the wig thing is on another level. For somebody to save for 8 months to buy a wig, I don't know.
you're talking about what week?
But-
What of VBL?
Okay, I don't.
So good that
I
far.
don't think Madonna students have started doing that one.
To
sha.
shock you, not
Ah.
everyone is big.
So,
Some just do petite size.
so I feel like you're knowing, if you know where you're going to
Okay.
and how your outcomes will be, how your future will be, I don't think you will have any real reason to be depressed, because having purpose, like you know why you're here, what you're doing, so you're working towards that goal. But when you are confused, you start judging yourself based on people's outcomes. You start measuring your success with what people are. Like this thing is you against yourself. It's not you against others. You don't compete with people. And then people nowadays are depressed because they cannot afford what other people are affording. They can't do what others are doing. Some people say some people's goal in life say they are, how will I put it, their future or their destiny, the way God shapes them, they might not necessarily be A students. But because of the way maybe their friend or their classmates are having A's, they start feeling low self-esteem. They start feeling less of themselves.
Or
because
maybe
of-
the way they are being pressured
Yes.
to have a to
They
parents. or
start
something.
feeling less of
Everybody
themselves.
wants
It's not
things.
about things like this. And I see it a lot with boys. Now guys have looked for ways to measure up. Start doing Yahoo, start playing bets, maybe the 20k will double to 40k. And then start doing things that will earn them money. Because now it's as if you don't have it, you are not there. And you see people pressuring themselves so much. Before you know it, they are in a state where they think they are, like I said before, feeling of sadness, hopelessness, and feeling of
You can't meet
worthlessness. You get, so you don't feel like you are there. You just, and that can even make, as what she said, you can take you to a dark spot, a dark place.
How have you ever like encountered a friend who was depressed?
I think so. Yes.
What did you do to help?
Yes, I think this is the time for us
Yeah,
to learn how to help.
Yes.
Okay, what did I do to help a
Exactly.
friend?
What do you do to
And
help
I
them?
had a friend that was like, he was always saying, he was always talking about how he cannot understand himself. I don't know what's in the room, I'm confused. Which kind of thing be all these ones? He was always comparing himself to like people and circumstance. Almost see my fellow guys, they do this one, see my fellow. That time I started talking to him, I told him who he is and who his makeup is. There's a way God makes people. For example, this is like, okay, let's say this is a cup. Now this is a cup. This cup is meant to carry water. Now this cup cannot be compared to this book. They are made with different materials. So that's how God makes us. He does not mass produce. For example, like you make plenty of, for example, chairs are for sit down, you make just plenty of chairs, all of them are for one purpose. God makes people with different reasons. So he gives you what you need for that destiny, what you need for that purpose. So if other people are going a certain way and you're not going that place, it does not mean you are failing. But that's what people don't understand. He thought he was a failure because he didn't have what others had. So he was going extra mile to buy the winning clothes, do the things that other people are doing. Just you get this Valentine that just passed. There are some guys that felt bad because they did not do paparapa for their feet. You get, there were people that are in the hostel. You guys saw some of the videos now. Some people in their hostel, they sent iPhone 16. Many
I
things.
saw that one. No,
And then
I
some people
saw
now feel like, I
instantly
couldn't do
depressed.
They
this.
were failures.
They were now feeling,
I think your generation is saddled
Very
with
sad.
a lot.
Yeah.
Your generation is saddled with a lot. You people were
Gen
raised
Z.
with parents who were not in touch with their own emotions. They were abused as kids, and now it's giving rise to a generation of abused kids. But I am grateful to God Almighty that the conversation is getting out there. Everyone seems to be having some sort of conversation about mental health. I think like the greatest medicine to mental health issues is just a lot of love. If children were raised in a home where there is love, you would go out and the love of your parents would define you. You are birthed into the world. You are raised with love. That love defines you. So when you are shone out into the world, you are your father's son, you are your mother's son. So it doesn't count what other persons are doing. But I think your generation you people are suffering. So this is what I would advise. For youth that think that they have issues, I think you need to investigate the history of your family. We are talking about traumatic history. We're not talking about which person has a land in the village or not. We're talking of traumatic history, how your parents were raised, who were their parents, how did they raise them. And that will give you a clear picture of how you were raised. And then it will also give you the information you need to find where the faults lied in how your parents raised you. And then you can start healing from that point and break the shame. And so if you decide you want to have children and it's time for you to have children, you're not going to parenting fully healed so that you don't repeat the generation of traumatic children. But for now, please, if you know you don't feel okay, please reach out to Booster for today. Reach out to them. They will find a therapist that will talk to you. First of all, free of charge. And then you may be charged later.
Fastest finger. Everybody cannot be free of charge. So here's your choice. Like here's your chance. The offer is on the table. If you feel like there's something you need to talk about, you don't know how you feel, you can't identify your emotions. You can't name your emotions. You can reach out to Booster for today. You know how to reach out to us. You can reach out to us on any of our social media platforms, and we'll link you up to a therapist. We have one here already, and you have that heart-to-heart talk that many of us need without even realizing. I, for one, have already booked one slot, so you are behind. Anyways, okay, I think there's something. We've been talking about depression. We've talked more on depression, and we've left out anxiety somehow. So I want to ask, is there something you'd like to add about anxiety that maybe an experience or
my
an
darling,
advice?
if you always have to worry, if you always have to worry about anything, then it's becoming a problem. Everyone is anxious. You wake up in the morning and you know you have like a time to meet. You would be anxious because you don't want to get there late. But if you have to worry about every single activity that you're doing, then you have anxiety issues. Now, it could get, if untreated, it could get so bad that it could cripple you. When there is mental distress, we have 3 types of reaction. There is a fight, flight, or freeze. For some people, when they experience anxiety attack, for me personally, I have a record of 2019. I was expecting goods from sea, and then the goods got lost at sea, and there were exotic fabrics that I needed to work with. I remember that I immediately went into full-blown panic. And I had to explain to clients who had sent money, and it was hell. From 2019 to 2022, there were days that I couldn't get up from my bed. My own reaction to the anxious moment was freezing. I would wake up in the morning and it's as if like a Yokozuna fighter was sitting on my body. The zeal to even lift my hand from the bed was not there. This wasn't depression. This was heavy worry. The worry is so heavy that even the zeal to wake up in the morning. I wake because, of course, your God did not kill you, so you will wake. But to get up from the bed and actually start, you freeze. So anxiety can be that crippling. So yes, and the worst part about anxiety is it will stop you from doing it. And it will also cause you to feel
Worry
guilty about not doing
it.
it.
Yeah.
And then you feel guilty about feeling guilty. And then you worry while you are feeling guilty.
That's
So
a long
it's
train
a
of
toxic
worry.
circle.
Wow.
So the minute you notice that you worry too much, darling, please
Reach out.
reach out and get help.
That's to say, a lot of us are actually there. I feel like personally, a lot of people I've met are actually there. You know, we are all more concerned about depression because honestly, we talk more about depression. I never actually felt like anxiety was a mental.
Since
Yeah.
since the corona, persons have become more anxious because with the resurrection of that virus and the carnage it caused, a lot of persons worried about the next step and future. And then we woke up, we came back from that death to an economy that is so unstable, and it is still so unstable, and the pressure on children, on parents, on government, everyone is worried. We are just saying, if you worry too much, if waking up has now become an issue, you are worried that if you are going to class you may fall on the road. You worry that what if you enter class your lecturer does not come. You now worry that what if your lecturer come and you are not there on time. You now worry that what if you are there on time you are not in the mood to listen. You have problem.
Okay, I think this actually makes me realize that most of what I suffered in school was anxiety and not depression.
No depression.
Yes, because with academic stress came that anxiety of always. I know there was a period when I legit woke up and I felt like 8 a.m. classes were not supposed to be a thing.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
and I know
they are
most
still not
They are
supposed to
not
be a
supposed
thing.
So I feel like most of us are actually battling anxiety without knowing, and we are very quick to say we are depressed than to actually say that we are having anxiety issues. So it's good to know
That's why when you get therapy, your therapist will be able to help you know the different emotions. One of the greatest steps to combating an attack, the feeling is different, but the attack. When you're having a crisis episode, one of the first steps is to name the emotions. Somebody hits you on the face, what do I feel? Okay. What am I feeling? Am I angry? Am I embarrassed? Am I afraid? Am I just offended? The ability to first of all name what the emotion it tells you. Okay, if you say I'm embarrassed, you're like, okay, so embarrassment is shame. I feel why would I feel ashamed? I'm not the one that hits me. Do you get? I immediately start to self-soothe. Talk your way out. If you're angry, you're like, okay, do I really want to punch this person back? No, it's not, as a Christian, I'm not supposed to punch. Maybe what I should do is step back. So you see, we help you to a stage where you can actually talk your way out of an attack. But you first of all have to get help.
Yes. Wow. I think at this point it's just obvious that a lot of us need help. I do personally. I've already booked a session. We'll talk about that behind camera. Because, yes, I think it's advisable for you to reach out. Instead of trying to handle these issues on your own, you're battling with these thoughts, you're battling with these emotions. You can't even identify what you're going through. I know it always comes with the question of, I know there was a period where wherever I am, it mostly happens when I'm either having my bath or using the toilet. I always ask myself, Ella, are you okay? And I reply myself, yes. And I'll be like, are you really okay? That's how the conversation starts. So I don't know, I think someone is supposed to be asking me this question and let me be talking, and I guess that person should be a therapist. So from up until now, a lot of us, I say a lot of us because I'm among, I always felt like therapy was a big deal. Was something that I used to feel like before I go for therapy, that means something has gone bad. Like I'm supposed to wait till something is damaged. Yes. But I guess I just realized that you don't have to wait for it to become that bad.
You could even be happy and still get therapy.
Without knowing, right? Okay.
You could be happy and still have to talk it. And another good thing with therapies is You can tell your therapist whatever, especially the things you can't tell your friends. We are bounded by law not to share.
A lot of therapists feel that I'm a bonko.
You can sue them.
Go to jail. She says that with a smile on her face.
Okay, so this is your call, guys. I think we've heard so much today. Depression, anxiety, the definitions, the fact that they are
Melancholy.
different. Like, I never knew depression was actually different from anxiety. And then there's the feeling of sadness, there's melancholy. I know I've heard that word before,
Just
but
know the
I didn't
meaning.
really, So, at least, I'm sure a lot of, like, viewer at home, I'm sure you're listening to this and you know where to place yourself. You know what you're going through. At least you have an idea. And so this is your call to seek help. Even if not from us, if you want to do it yourself, I'm sure there are many ways. I mean, we live in, everything is easier with the internet. You can browse for help. You can go to a hospital. You can reach out to professionals. I think you can reach out to a medical doctor. Your medical doctor can refer you to a therapist. So it's not something that is so hard to do. It's not rocket science. And if you want to do it from the pleasure of your home, from that seat you are sitting on right now, just send us a DM. Send a DM, any of our social media accounts. Send a DM. You can drop it on the comment section. And also stories, your personal experience. If you've battled depression, you've come out of it, we would like to hear it. I'm sure there's someone out there that your story will help. Yes, it happens a lot. I'm sure there's someone that will read your story and that person is facing something similar. And if it's something you've battled and you've conquered, I'm sure you have something to help that person with. So at this point, I'll just say, if there's any other thing you'd like to add for us.
Yes, so on top of talk therapy, I like to do counseling because I am a Bible believing Christian. Through my journey, God has held my hand and has walked me through the valleys of the shadows of death.
Hallelujah.
So, darlings, one of the first things you do is go down to God in prayer. Let your knees hit the floor. Be very free. The man does not charge to talk to him, unlike me. So go to God in prayer. Talk to God. Pour your heart to God. That's the first step. Tell God. Even if you don't have the money, tell him, Baba God, right now I need to talk to a therapist. I didn't have. But right now you have to package me so that I don't run mad. So that until I have the money, until I can get help. But please, along with this, please send help my way. So talk to God in prayer and you find relief. Relief in the love, the encompassing, calming love of God.
That's so beautiful.
Yes.
I mean, above all, we know that in any situation, in any and every situation, God first. So at this juncture, I'd like to ask my beautiful host, you have anything else to tell us?
Yes, we have a little something for our guest speakers who have, made us very happy by honoring our invitations. We are so pleased and have learned a lot from the both of you. I've learned massive things from both of you. So a little something for
thank you very
you
much.
from the Booster for Today family.
This is just a way to say
you
thank
very
you. We
much.
know
Yes.
it's very little. Thank you for
Counting
counting us worthy.
Yes,
Thank you for helping us make the counts for ourselves, for our viewer at
and
home,
our families.
and for everybody. We really, really appreciate. And we look forward to seeing you back
Again.
here because we know we are not done.
Again, we can't be done.
We know we are not done. So for you viewer at home, look forward to more.
Yes.
There's more. There's more where this is
So
coming
please
from.
come back.
So
Come back, please.
don't touch
Come
that
back.
die, right? Don't touch
Don't
that
touch
die.
that guy.
We'll be right back. Same time next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.